Booyah, we're live. Let's see if we get the viewer. Oh, we got one viewer. What's up, JS? I'm just gonna chat randomly till we get maybe 3, 4 people show up and see where it goes. Oh, 2 people in the house. A couple more, and I'll start talking about actual stuff. But I'll throw it out there. My one buddy, you may recall. Did I shared it? Okay, it must have been on the. I can't keep the streams. I keep crossing the streams. I don't know when I talked about it, but I shared some book cover designs with my screen sharing, and I think it was last weekend, on the members only stream. And so my buddy, who I'm helping, supposed to be building a website, 2 websites for him, but he changes his mind all the time, and he's a great guy. I don't have a problem with this, but now he's got me editing. Okay, thank you, Blue Sky. It was the members only stream. He's got me editing these books. 2 books. One he's got an actual editor for. He actually has 2 editors. The first book that he's writing that's almost done. They're not huge books, too. They're thin. They're going to be a thin spine. You're talking like maybe in a 4x6 format, or around about, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper folded in half, if that's the base size of the book, maybe 100 pages. It's going to be a real thin spine. It's not it's not going to take you more than a day to read each one. He wrote it a long time ago, but he's not the best writer. But he has a good friend who used to be an English teacher in high school, I think. I don't know. I've met her on Zoom a couple of times. She edited his book. Then I read it, and I was like, this isn't bad. And he got in touch with a professional editor through a publishing company, and he's having another professional editor edit the book for him. And we just got back the first round of changes from that guy. And it was kind of funny because the stuff that the school teacher wrote, he's got very few changes. He sent back a Word document just full of like his suggested changes, but he didn't physically change anything. It's Microsoft Word has some weird editing features. I don't like them, but so the book came back. The stuff now, there was a foreword and an afterword in the book that my buddy wrote. It's just red. The whole thing is covered in red because the editor rewrote all the stuff for him. But the stuff that the school teacher had already edited, very far and few between red marks. It's very sparse. So the forward and the afterword really aren't that long. So it'll be, the book itself wasn't that bad. Like, it was almost good to go before he even reached out to the editor. But we're doing a second book, and I'm editing it. He's not using the professional editor, and we're using some AI tools to help. Grok, Gemini, and Grammarly. And I'm taking his raw notes, basically, just like a total brainstorming session, and just a hodgepodge of all kinds of different material, and editing it into a book. And it's going to take a while. It's not. I'm getting paid by the hour for this, so okay. It's coming along nice, though. I'm actually, at first I was a little irritated because I want to work on a website and I want to do what I set out to do. And this feels like I'm being sidetracked. But I also, as I talked about on Sunday, I feel like there's probably a good reason I'm doing this. And this week, as I'm getting deeper into the editing of this book and putting things together, I'm like, I think this is a good experience for me. And maybe it's kind of like a stepping stone to me writing a book, because I'm getting my chops. I'm getting into that zone mentally. And I can write a book. I've never been opposed to doing it. But I don't know. what I want to do in terms of, my own life. And I just don't think people read books. So I was in prison. I had a good reason to read books. But other than that, like, people don't read. That's what we have YouTube and Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these other things for. So I don't feel like I could even write a book if it doesn't have a happy ending. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had how to write a book about being successful or whatever if you're a broke ass loser who just got out of prison. I don't think that's a bestseller. So I'm not calling myself a loser other than like joking around, but I gotta win something. I gotta get, like, there needs to be, like, the only reason Danica Patrick gets sponsorships and accolades and whatnot for being a race car driver is because she's got titties. She never won a race. She never won a race ever. And for her run, she was one of the most popular race car drivers out there. I've never seen a race car driver more popular than her that never won a race. But if you're a dude, nobody cares. Nobody wants to be your sponsor. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to buy your shirt. Nobody's going to, like, want to outfit, nobody's going to buy the little model car or whatever till you win a couple of races. Then you got some street cred. It's the same thing with writing a book about how to come back from a fall. You got to come back from it. Or, you can't write the book while you're homeless. You've got to get out of being homeless and get your shit together, and then you can write the book, because you don't have any credibility if you're still living under the bridge and, sucking dick for crack or whatever you do. So, what's up, Alex? Okay, I watched this lady, Casey Roman, and she was a TV news lady, and she did van life, a lot of people, and then wrote a book. It's been interesting watching her do all these things. Her book is Looking Up. Is that the title of the book, or is it? I mean, I can find it based on what you told me there. I mean, I'll just take a screenshot. There we go. And I got it in my notes, and I can look her up. Yeah, I mean, I was trying, so I wanted to do the van life thing. Before I was arrested, I was outfitted for it. I had the van. I just didn't have the life. I had the golden handcuffs from my corporate job. I could live the van life for up to like 3 weeks. But I had fully remote jobs. So what I was trying to figure out, and I was almost kind of there, how do I take an office with me and actually work an 8-hour day remotely while I'm on the road? Hotel room, okay, yeah, you can kind of do that. One job that I had when I was more of a software designer and developer, I had an office with like 2 desks, 3 screens, 2 or 3 computers in front of me, and I needed all that stuff to get my job done. Later on, I had a more management job, managing designers. All I had to do was sit in meetings and tell people what to do, and I didn't have to actually do anything. I could sit there with a MacBook. I would sit in my sunroom and watch the animals all day while I sat in meetings, half of which I didn't even have to pay attention to. And so that was a job that I could maybe go do the van life thing and sit in a parking lot, show up to the Zoom meeting with a headphone on, done, just don't turn on the camera if I'm at the beach or whatever, but I'm doing it. I could do the job remotely. And even if I was at the beach, nobody would have cared, because that's how that culture was. They only cared about whether you did your job or not. They didn't care if you sat at the beach and did it. So that would have been okay. And so I was kind of piecing together a mobile office tent, like an easy up tent, like we were talking about a few shows back. And I had a folding desk, and I had a kit that I could take with me to my ex-girlfriend's house, pop open a desk with all the stuff I need, even a portable printer. My printer's sitting right next to me. I'm sitting at the portable desk right now. I'm using it as a desk now, but I have a bag for all this stuff. Big bag. It's not a small bag. But so I was trying to figure out, like, could I do the van life and travel, but also have like a 9 to 5 remote job while I do it, and maybe find a way to get out of doing the 9 to 5 remote job and just live on the road. But then I was in a relationship, and the relationship was going well, and that kind of took away. I don't want to say it took away my freedom to travel because it was my choice, but because I was in this relationship, I didn't travel by myself much. And, she had a big part in what I was going to do with my free time I spent it with her. So if I was single when I got that job, maybe I would have maybe I would have gone all in on the living remotely, working remotely van life thing, and just did it for months at a time instead of weeks at a time. But I also have kids and other things, so it wasn't like. But I could have taken my son on a 3-month road trip and just said, "We're going away for 3 months. See you before school starts." So I don't know. But now that we got some people in the house, we got 6. Got up a little higher than that. I'm going to start out with Jesus Calling. That book. That's my book. That's the book I read. If I'm reading a book, that's the only book I read, and I read about that much. I read about this much on any given day, and I don't read it every day. And if I miss a day, get around to it next year. I don't go back and read yesterday's if I missed it. But this book matches my life, and you're going to get a kick out of this because it's funny. So today's entry: I am with you. Well, I am with you. I am with you. I am with you. Heaven's bells continually peal with that promise of my presence. Some people never hear those bells because their minds are earthbound and their hearts are closed to me. Others hear those bells only once or twice in their lifetimes, in rare moments of seeking me above all else. And some people, they only hear hell's bells because they're AC/DC fans, but, that's neither here nor there. That's not part of today's entry. That was our song in my high school soccer days. That was our song that we marched out onto the field with that blaring on the speakers. It's a pretty intimidating thing when you see a bunch of soccer players that are about to beat the snot out of you march out onto the field to that. But anyway, my desire is that my sheep hear my voice continually, for I am the ever-present shepherd. Quietness is the classroom where you learn to hear my voice. Beginners need a quiet place in order to still their minds. As you advance in this discipline, you gradually learn to carry the stillness with you wherever you go. When you step back into the mainstream of life, straining to hear those glorious bells, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you. So, like I said, as usual, this book lines up with whatever's going on in my life. And today it said, quietness is the classroom where you learn to hear my voice. And it says, beginners need a quiet place in order to still their minds. And I can agree with that. One thing about prison or jail, you will never hear what quiet sounds like, ever. Not 1 second. I went 20 plus months, and never one time, not for 1 single second of those 20 months did I hear what quiet sounds like. It wasn't until I came home from prison and sat in a place when my ex went to her job or her business and just left for the day that I sat in a silent room and was like, oh my God, this is what quiet sounds like. And it wasn't even completely quiet because it was a busy intersection out front. So there were cars going by, not like fast, but there was traffic and noise outside. But it was close to quiet. And I found a park that was a 20-minute walk. And I could go sit in that park, and that park was quiet, dead quiet. There was a stream. I could sit by the stream. Sometimes I would go down there and sit for an hour by the stream, just sit and experience quiet. So it says, as you advance in this discipline, you gradually learn to carry the stillness with you wherever you go. And so today, I appreciate how quiet it is where I live. It's quiet here. But maybe today, Jesus was trying to help me advance in this discipline, like he said, because starting at the time I read this entry, a car alarm started going off right outside my house, blaring. It started at 8:30 in the morning. In fact, I thought it might be my car, but I'm like, that doesn't sound like my horn. And there was other noises going with it. I'm like, I don't think that's my car, but I'm having these electronic glitches with my car. So I'm like, please don't tell me that's my car. So I gather up. I wasn't even dressed. I get dressed. I go out the door. I look outside. The noise stopped. I hit the button on my key fob to hear my car go beep, and I'm like, no, that's not the horn I just heard. So 10 minutes later, the alarm's back on. So I go outside and I look. There's a lowrider pickup truck parked in the house next door to mine. And it's that truck. And it's one of those obnoxious, super loud car alarms that are the horn beeping along with just like a bunch of like 75 obnoxious loud noises all going on at once. Beep, beep. all at the same. I mean, I can't do it at the same time with my mouth. But you've heard the car alarm. You've heard this alarm before, like the most obnoxious car alarm out there that you could buy right now. And so from from 8:30 in the morning until 10:30 in the morning, it was going off every 5 to 10 minutes. JS, even during lights out, I thought that there is not 1 second in prison or jail, not 1 second where it's quiet, not 1 second. Not at night, not during the day, not when you put your hands over your ears. It's the loudest. Think of a grade school, elementary school cafeteria where everybody's having a food fight. And then multiply that by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Grown men screaming and yelling at the top of their lungs, banging on the walls, banging on the doors, screaming, yelling, you name it. The most obnoxious. You cannot imagine what it is until you've seen it. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. It's traumatic. That honestly was one of the most awful things about the experience was how just imagine being next to a jet engine for 20 months and never being able to get away from it. I don't even know. I don't know how to describe it. But this morning, this car alarm, between 9 and 10:15, the alarm went off every 5 minutes. Sometimes it would shut off after 20 seconds. Sometimes it would go off for like a minute. And it just, finally I got to the point where I started documenting it because I'm going to have to do something about this. I start documenting it. 10:29 a.m., 10:47 a.m., 10:50 a.m., 10:51, 10:51 again, 11:15, 11:21. Now, the whole time I'm trying to do work. I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm trying to edit a book. like I talked about earlier this video. And every time I get into it, like loud, coming right through the wall, through the door, like the car was parked in this room with me loud. I put on my Bose soundproof headphones, the noise canceling headphones, these Mamba Jambas right here. And these things would not do it. They toned it down a little bit. Sometimes I can just put on those headphones and sit in silence with the thing switched on, and I'm not listening to anything, but they take out a lot of noise, but not that. So 1121, 1122, 1122 again, 1131, 1134, 1142, 1143, again at 1143, 1146, 1152, 1153, 1154, 1203, 1204, 1205, 1206, 1208, 1209, 1223, 1225, 1228, 1239. And that's the frequency of been going 8:30 in the morning. Now it's 12. It's 4 hours of nonstop car alarm. And I'm pissed. So I reach out to the landlord and I said, hey, do you got a new tenant or something here? Because like, told him what was going on. He calls me back. He's like, oh, that's my son's truck. He left it there. They have another truck that they keep stored here. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry. And, we talked for a while. He's like, yeah, there must be something wrong. I said, look, you may have a bad battery or something. I don't know. He's like, I'll be over there. Don't worry about it. I'll come over and take care of it. And, well, I found another creative use for AI. Because I was documenting how often this alarm was going off, I copied and pasted all the times and the duration of the alarm. And I pasted it into Grok and I said, hey, Grok, can you calculate the time that you think is left before the battery on this truck is too dead to keep this up? And Grok turned around and said 12:40, or Grok turned around and said 12:53 p.m. it will stop. And it gave me all these calculations and why it thought that. And, total triggers 29 in the span of 134 minutes interval. Last 10 triggers were 70 seconds apart, 28 seconds average duration, 6 to 8 amps typical power draw, 1.5 amps left from the dying pattern. And then it said like 12:48, you might hear another one. 12:50, you'll start hearing weak chirps. And by 12:53, total silence. So 12:53, the alarm went off again. And then silence. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Get out of here. So I'm sitting there, 12:53, it went for 20 seconds. And I'm like, oh my God, Grok got it. Well, then at 1:16, it happened again. Alarm goes off. And then it stopped. And then the landlord comes over so from 1:16 in the afternoon to 3:23 p.m., no car alarm. And I'm like, that's really funny that AI calculated when this guy's battery was going to die. But after 1:16, landlord came over at 2:30. Nothing. It wasn't doing it. He hung out for a while. He goes, let me know if it keeps happening. I'll have somebody come over and pull the battery. Or, I'm like, it's not just me. I live here. There's another house. There's 3 other little houses on this property. There's a mansion over there, like a straight up mansion. And over here on this other property, there's 3 big houses on the property next door. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 homes that are listening to this crap all day long. And it's pissing everybody. I'm sure I'm not the only one who got mad. So, but I was like, at least he knew. It was like, oh, that's my son's truck. I'll have him come and get it if he needs to or whatever. So it wasn't like, I was like, all right, fine. And the noise died down. I had things I needed to do outside, but I wouldn't do them while the car alarm was going off because I'm like, I can't be dealing with this and listening to that. So 3:23, it went off again. Then I had to go on a drive. I got out of here for a while, came back. Then I heard the car alarm go off again at 5:33, but I looked outside and his son was here picking up the truck. So he was probably just messing around with it or whatever. But, I was like, I'm not going to call the police over, even though this thing was going off for like 4 or 5 hours straight. I called the landlord. I'm like, I'm not, some people would call the cops or do something, but first of all, I'm not a dick like that. I'm like, if this guy's having car problems, I'm having car problems. So we're in the same club. The weather's cold. Electronics are starting to flake. Cold for Houston, not cold for the rest of you up north, but here it's cold. But I'm on federal probation. If I call the cops on a nuisance and I have to talk to a cop, then I'm required to report that to my probation officer within a certain amount of time, or I can end up going to prison just for that. Like if a cop types my name into a computer to look me up for something, my probation officer is going to get flagged that I had an encounter with the police. And if I don't tell him I had an encounter with the police, he's going to be up my ass. And it doesn't matter whether I'm in trouble or not. Like if somebody stole my car and I had to file a police report, I would have to tell him about it. So, number one, I'm not going to call the cops unless I absolutely have to talk to a police officer, because why would you invite vampires into your home to get rid of cockroaches? You know what I'm saying? Like, just find another way to deal with it. I'm not going to swap out one set of problems for a whole nother set of problems when I had nothing to do with any of it in the first place other than being forced to listen to this all day. So I just decided to be patient. Once again, keeping in mind that my car is acting up. And, I'm also putting it into perspective, like, well, at least my car problems aren't as bad as that, where my car alarm's going off all day long and I'm going to have to disconnect the battery every time I park. My car doesn't go all day long. My car has some sort of alarm, but it's just, the standard alarm that they put on the car. They put the button on the key fob in a bad spot. Sometimes when you turn the car off, it's the button to activate the panic mode is on the key fob in a really bad spot. It's very easy to push the button when you're just trying to shut the car off. And it happens a couple times a week, and it's annoying. So I know what the alarm sounds like on my car, and I knew that wasn't my car doing that. So whatever. Okay, so another reminder that I've got some car issues, but they're not as bad as that. And also, I could have been a dick about it. I could have reacted badly, but that reminded me of I hate talking about this, but it's a story, and it goes with today's events. It does. My batshit crazy ex. It just reminds me of her. Because when I lived with that nut job, we had a neighbor with a barking dog. And her son lived in the apartment above us, and they also had a dog. And at night, whenever the neighbor's dog would be outside barking, my ex would get so livid. She'd stomp across the apartment, grab the key fob to her car, and set off the car alarm, and let the car alarm sit there and blare in her parking spot for the next 10 or 15 minutes straight until the neighbors would take the dog inside. And the messed up thing about that is that when I came home from prison, she told me over and over again that she did not want me embarrassing her in front of her neighbors, causing a scene, causing all kinds of drama, bringing all kinds of attention on her, starting fights, and escalating my voice so that other people can hear us fighting. But literally every single night, she would sit there blaring her car alarm every time this dog went outside and barked. All the neighbors around the entire block are listening to her car. Honk, honk, honk for 15 minutes every night. And then when she would do that, the dog upstairs in her son's apartment would start barking and going crazy. And they had a little kid up there. So she's waking up the little kid that's trying to fucking sleep at night by blaring her fucking car alarm and stuff. And she's telling me to keep my mouth shut and don't make a scene and don't draw attention to ourselves. And I'm just like, yeah, eat a dick, bitch. Like, you can just shut the fuck up right now with that. I sat there and watched this, rolling my eyes, laughing inside because it was funny. The son's girlfriend didn't even want her spending time with her own grandson anymore because of how much of a cunt she'd been. And it was just crazy to sit there and watch this. Especially when I was the one being accused of causing all the drama and bringing all the embarrassment and attention on her because I'm an ex-con who just moved to the neighborhood and everybody's going to be looking at me and judging her because I'm like, no, they're judging you because you're a fucking nut job. Keeping them up at night with your fucking car alarm. And screaming and yelling all the time with the door open and the screen door not blocking your sound. She was the one screaming and yelling and throwing fits and throwing shit and hollering and yelling. And I'm just like, would you calm down? Every time I would say something like, why don't you just calm down? That was about the opposite of what would happen. So whatever. I mean, because of all of this, I actually started calling her Cruella. Her last name is very similar to the last name of the woman in those movies. You know, the woman who wanted to kill 100 dogs to make a coat out of them. And because of the fact that she wanted to kill the neighbor's dog, and I assumed make a coat or a scarf or something out of the dog, I started calling her Cruella. Not to her face, because I needed a roof over my head. That's the only reason that never came out of my mouth. But every time I referenced her when I was talking to a friend or somebody, I'd be like, oh yeah, Cruella, you won't believe what she did today. Cruella this and Cruella. She was Cruella to everybody who I was talking to. I never used her name ever again. It was always Cruella and her last name. I'm not going to say it, but Cruella, that's who she became. And then I'm walking around Jamestown, New York one day, and I see the exact same car drive by me. And I turn around, and I'm like, please don't tell me that's her, because I had to walk right by where she was going. She pulled into this parking lot right where I was going to walk, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, what? I just kept walking, and I look over, and a girl that kind of looked like her with a white streak in her hair gets out of the car. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Get out of here. I don't even know if that was her or not. But if Cruella went and got the Cruella hairdo, you know, the one that you've seen in all the movies, that's beyond crazy. I had to call my friend. I had to call my best friend and be like, look, Cruella got the Cruella hairdo. I swear to God, I just saw her walking down the street and she had the white streak in her hair and everything. I'm like, he's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, you got pictures or it didn't happen. And I'm like, I'm not stalking my ex trying to get a fucking picture of her Cruella haircut. But I'm going off the rails a little bit with that sidetrack. But the point of the story is car alarms blaring off every 10 minutes is obnoxious and rude. And if you have a problem with your neighbor's dog, I think the car alarm was worse than the dog. Like the dog, I mean, yeah, who wants to listen to a barking dog? But you don't need to do that. in response. Like, why don't you go and talk to the neighbors? See if you can work something out, or just maybe pet the fucking dog or something. I don't know. Like maybe there's something you could do about this that's not what you did. I don't know. It ain't my fucking problem anymore. So, but I know what. Sometimes you do have a bad neighbor. I lived in a neighborhood in Pittsburgh called Castle Shannon. If you're familiar with Pittsburgh, you would know where it is. I had complete obnoxious assholes for neighbors with an obnoxious, bad, nasty, mean pit bull. And we had major beef over this dog for years. I lived there for 6 years, and there was not a day that we weren't beefing about this dog. It got to the point where, now they had a chain link fence around their backyard, but my son was 3 or 4 years old at the time, and he couldn't play in the backyard because this pit bull is going at the chain link fence like it's trying to jump over the chain link fence and get over and kill us. And it's constantly just like barking at him like it's going to kill us. If we were outside and the dog was outside, the only thing the dog would do is go right up to the fence and just like loud and obnoxious, like it wants to come over and kill us nonstop until the neighbors would take the dog inside. So finally, I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. I took the garden hose and I just had it next to me with a high pressure thing. Dog would come up and start barking at the fence. I just blast the motherfucker in the face. Fuck you. I just blasted this dog. Well, the neighbors must have seen me do it, or they noticed that their dog was coming in wet, but it worked. The dog would leave us the fuck alone if I did that a few times. Well, so one day I come home from work, and I see that my hose reel out in the backyard was smashed to pieces. Like someone took a fucking sledgehammer and smashed my hose reel all to pieces. I didn't have a camera out there. So I'm like, all right, that's how we're going to play this game. You picked the wrong motherfucker to start a fight like this with. So I went and got myself a dog whistle. And so the first, I just got a cheap dog whistle to see what would happen. I went out in the backyard to start blowing on the dog whistle, and I could hear the dog inside the house going fucking crazy whenever I blow this dog whistle. And I could hear the neighbors yelling at the dog, shut up, calm down, shut up. So I'd chill, let everything calm down for a minute, and then I'd just be like, you can't hear it. I'd blast that dog whistle again. Dog would go fucking berserk. I mean, you could hear this dog tearing ass around the house, probably breaking stuff, going batshit crazy. Because every time I blow the dog whistle, it would just, and I would just wait. We'd just be sitting in the backyard. I'd be like, watch this, everybody. Fucking, you'd hear it coming from inside the house. You would hear it in the backyard. All the commotion. And I just kept doing this over and over for weeks. Finally, I got an electronic one with a big horn, pointed it right at their fucking house with a button. Anytime I wanted to fuck with their dog, all I'd have to do is hit this button. So, like, anytime these neighbors would piss me off, I'll just be like, you know what? And it was just like for years, 2 or 3 years, I could make that dog go berserk. And they had no fucking idea because you can't hear it. You just hit this button, listen. So I'm like, you motherfuckers. Oh, I'm going to torture you motherfuckers. And so we'd be out there in the backyard, sitting by the chimney having a fire. The neighbors would let their dog out, and it would be all obnoxious, pissing everybody off in my backyard. They'd bring it back into the house. We'd let like 20 minutes go by. I'd be like, watch this. And neighbors were just like, what is wrong with this fucking dog? They didn't know that I was the one doing it. It was like I had a button and I could make their dog go psychotic anytime I wanted to just by hitting this fucking button. And human beings can't hear the fucking sound. But you have to get a loud one. The problem is bass. you have to understand sound frequency. Bass travels far and long. So, like, that's why you hear a car with bass coming down the road from like a mile away. Treble, on the other hand, has a very hard time going through solid surfaces. So the dog whistle is like so high pitched that humans can't even hear it. So first of all, you got to get one that's loud as fuck. And number two, you got to aim it at something like a window or something that it will resonate with. So you got to play around with this if you're going to do it. But you got a neighbor with a shitty dog, I'm telling you, this is the modern problems. You can come up with modern solutions for modern problems, and this is one of them. So, like I said, I had this button. I could make the dog go berserk anytime I wanted to. Just what I'm like, hey, it's quiet. It's quiet. Hey, you guys want to see something funny? Watch this. And the thing is, like, okay, so yeah, the high-pitched sounds have a really hard time traveling through walls. But dogs have super hearing. I had a Sheltie when I was growing up. We had a Sheltie. It was a family dog. And dogs can hear things that you can't. Like, not just the high-pitched sounds, but... So, for example, my dad had a minivan. Some sort of like... I don't even know what it is. It's like a Pontiac Mini. This ugly-ass minivan with a window that was so big that the window wiper blades were as long as my body is tall. Like they were. I had skis that were shorter than the window wiper blades on this minivan. It was the goofiest thing. But my dad had this van. It wasn't like he had a Camaro with a tuned exhaust that made a distinct sound. It was just a regular vehicle. It wasn't a special vehicle. Didn't sound like any other vehicle. You know, it didn't sound unique. This dog, we lived on a road. We lived on like a back dead-end road that was not too far from a main road, and there were lots of cornfields. So you could see the main road from our house, but you're looking like a mile and a half away, 2 miles. And you can watch the traffic going up and down this road. It's a main road, and so there's lots of cars going back and forth. Every day, whenever my stepdad would leave the house, that dog would start going berserk. The Sheltie come running down the stairs, running around in circles, chasing its tail, jumping up on the door, smacking its paws up against the door, and we would all know, oh, Dad must be on his way home. Sure enough, like sometimes you could look down at the main road and see his minivan driving up the main road, but it's like 2 miles away. This dog could hear his van coming from 2 miles down the road through a house and instantly know Daddy's coming home. And the dog would be jumping up and down in front of the window, going in circles, just going like, can't wait to see him. Dude's 2 miles away. We didn't even know. We would just see the dog go berserk and you look out the window, oh, there he comes. And it would still take like 2 or 3 minutes for him to get to the house from where the dog would start barking. So dogs can hear things that I'm telling you, I've seen it with my own eyes, what these dogs can actually hear. So the fact that my neighbors thought that they were going to get into that beef with me about their stupid dog, they lost. Because for 3 years straight, I had a speaker pointed right at their house with a high-pitched noise that only a dog can hear. And anytime I wanted to make their lives miserable, all I had to do is hit that button. You know what? I'm bored. It was so loud that we could do it from inside my house, sitting on the couch in the living room. We'd have to have the TV turned off and whatnot. But we could hear the dog barking and the people yelling at the dog from inside my house while they were inside their house. So I would get up at like 4. If I had to wake up in the middle of the night, like just go take a pee or something like that, it's 4 a.m, I'd be in the bathroom. I'd be like, you know what? Right now is about a good time to hit that button. 4 a.m, fucking morning you can, what the hell, dog? Shut the fuck up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there dying. I'm taking a dump at 4 a.m. Fuck it, why not? Pushing that button. And I loved having that. So you motherfuckers, all you had to do is keep your dog in line. But no, you had to come over to my house and smash my hose reel with a fucking sledgehammer and leave it laying in the backyard to make your point that you didn't want me spraying your dog when your dog was threatening to attack my fucking kid. Well, for the next 3 years, you got to wake up at 2 a.m, having no fucking idea why your dog is a psychotic nut job. And it was all because I was sitting next door pushing that button whenever I felt like it. Modern problems, modern solutions, right there. You can order this shit on Amazon. You got a neighbor with an asshole dog, and you beefing, boom, do it. You will be entertained. The entertainment never ends with that. It's one of the best things you can do. Because they will maybe they'll take it to the vet and just put it down, and I don't know, man. I got out of that house, but that was one of the one time I tried getting along with these neighbors more than once. One time I got mail for them in my mailbox, and it looked like a check, like somebody got paid. I didn't open the envelope. I walked over, I rang the doorbell. They came to the door and acted all obnoxious to me, asking, what the fuck are you doing over here? And then they yank it out of my hand and slam the door. And I'm like, all right, bitch. Well, you obviously know what happened that night when I got home. I hit the button. So that's one thing I did in retaliation to that. But then from there on, they would get mail. Like, for whatever reason, sometimes their mail would end up in my mailbox and it would go straight to the fucking garbage can. I never again would I take Amazon package comes to my house instead of theirs. Well, it's mine. It's my shit now, asshole. I don't even care if the driver took a picture of it on my steps. I don't have any idea what happened to that package. And when you go home, guess what I'm going to do? So, yeah. I'm telling you, I have more neighbor problems back in Pittsburgh when I lived in the suburbs than I had when I lived in the middle of the ghetto. The suburbs are the worst place on earth. I hate the suburbs. I would rather live in the inner city ghetto than the suburb. I've done it. I know this because of experience. The ghetto's not great. If you like having a car with wheels on it and shit like that, I mean, that's kind of, you're rolling the dice there. But I have more problems, and I have more problems with people messing with my cars and stuff living in the suburbs than I did when I lived in the ghetto of Pittsburgh. But, living out in the country was the best. That's where I want to be. Once I get to the point, I did kind of mess around looking for, I did kind of look down in Galveston today because the car alarm was going off all day. So I'm like, I started looking at new places to live, not because of that, but just, it was like a reminder. When your lease is up, maybe you want to go look at some places. I'm like, I've got this idea, maybe move to Galveston so I can live on the beach. I can walk to the beach. I can be if I'm going to be a bum, why not be a beach bum? A beach bum. Shit, when I was last time I was in Key West, I saw a guy passed out on a sidewalk with no shirt, a pair of ripped up Scooby-Doo Swamp Monster cargo shorts, all ripped up at the knees, tied off with a rope, not a belt, a rope, and a pair of dollar store flip-flops, a paper bag with some sort of glass bottle in it, and he was out cold. And I'm like, if that's the worst life can be, you're not doing too bad. I mean, it's not going to get cold. You're not. I mean, if all I need to survive is a paper bag with some booze, a pair of dollar store flip flops, some Scooby Doo Swamp Monster ripped up cargo shorts, and a piece of rope to hold them up. I don't even need a shirt. If that's all I need to survive, then hey, it ain't that bad. I got a picture of the guy somewhere in my collection. I just don't know where. But I just thought, if I'm going to be a bum, beach bum is better than being a bum in Jamestown, New York, trying to survive winter under a bridge. That, whew! Beach bum in Key West, which Key West doesn't really have a beach, but a bum in Key West is doing a lot better than a bum in Jamestown, New York, any day of the week. So I'm thinking, why not move to Galveston? Maybe get a job at that funky bike shop down there. Just pester them until they finally hire me. Or something else. There's other things down there. And live on the beach. The rent is, honestly, I'm finding places where the rent isn't that bad. And it's, it's not is it the best beach or the best neighborhood? No, but it's a beach. And it's close. And it's not that far from here. So that was in my head. And I was looking at it. I was looking at it today, but not seriously. But the fact that I made the attempt to look at places down there, now when I hit the marketplace button in Facebook, it will automatically just start showing me places to rent in Galveston, because that's what they do. The algorithm tries to pick up on what you're looking for, and then it just starts randomly throwing more of the same stuff at you. So I'll start seeing stuff. And, we get bums, like JS says, we get bums from all states who migrate to California because it rarely rains, and summer is 9 months a year, and they get a bunch of free handouts from the government, money, food stamps, welfare. They got those homeless apartments where they get to live in nice luxury apartments now instead of a homeless shelter. You forgot about 20 other reasons why people who are homeless go to California to be homeless. I would go to home. If I was going to be homeless again, I'd be like, California ain't that bad. It's not like I can own a gun again. I can take, if I got to go to the bathroom, I can take a dump right on the sidewalk. Nobody's going to bother me. Free money, free food. Maybe I can get myself one of them homeless high-rise apartments. Booyah. I mean, it's the place to be. But if I'm just going to be a low-income bum, I think Galveston would be a better place to live than here. But I don't hate it here either. So I kind of live in a little woodsy pocket. Not the woodlands, but actual woods. There's some, I wouldn't call it wilderness, but there's some woods here. There's some actual woods. I could be homeless here and nobody would know I have a camp because there's enough woods, and, suburban people don't go off the path. If it's not a marked trail or a paved path, they won't go back in those woods to see what's in there. You don't got to go far. And I can tell you, from here to where I work at the bakery, in my mind, I already know 100 places I could set up a homeless camp and just live. No problem. No problem. I would never be fucked with. It's just, because of my travels, because of stuff and all that. Not that that was ever my goal, but I do camp and I do hike and I do travel by bicycle and I sleep in questionable places quite often, whether I'm driving or not. And I've learned how to do it. And, you can sleep right under someone's nose and they won't know you're there. If you look at Steve Wallace on YouTube, the guy's made a whole YouTube career about finding questionable places to camp and showing you that you can camp right in the middle of an island in a roundabout in a busy city, and nobody's ever going to know you're there. Like, he does stuff like that all the time. If you don't want to be found, it's very easy to disappear unless they're looking for you. And at that point, you got to get rid of your phone, your wallet, your anything electronic, anything with your name on it, and then what do you do? How do you make your money? How do you live? Steve Wallace, Steve Wallace is, you say the close call videos. I've never seen him close call. Like, it's over dramatized, like a reality TV show where they cut to the commercial and they make you think that things are going to go really bad, and then they come back from the commercial and it's like nothing. It would be like my car. Just before you cut to the commercial, it shows me turning the key in my car going, and then you think it's not going to start, and then you come back from the commercial and it goes, and I just drive to work, and it turned out to be nothing. That's Steve Wallace's close call video. I don't think he's ever had an actual close call. Pallet truck. Yeah, dude's got some funny videos, man. So yeah, I haven't watched them all, but I've watched enough over the years, and that dude's he's an inspiration for sure. Especially when you travel like I do sometimes, it just shows you. It's proof. It's proof that you can do you can camp in a county park where they say no camping allowed. You can camp in Central Park in New York City. Yes, you absolutely can. There's certain places you want to avoid, but you can do it. People do. I would do it. If I went to New York City and I walked around in a backpack all day, I would probably not want to make it look like a hiking backpack, but I could camp in Central Park. I know I could. Wouldn't even be, it's not if, it's like, I would go there early enough to scope out a good spot, but I'd do it. You could do it. You don't even have to leave the park until a certain time at night. And you play your cards right. You camp there. You just got to make sure you can pack down, and you can't leave something set up. You set it up after dark. You pack it down before the sun comes up. You get on your merry way. No one gives a fuck. No one's going to care. Cops are not going to get out of their vehicle to check on you unless they can see you from where their vehicle drives by. So if they're driving by the cop pathways, you just got to make sure you're not camping where they can shine a floodlight on you and see you from the cop pathway. That's the thing with, and you got to look and make sure nobody else is camping around you because the homeless. You don't want to be camping around a bunch of crackheads in the middle of Central Park at 3 a.m. You want to be off by yourself. But it can be done. It can be done. I could make a video of that. It wouldn't even be hard. I'm not even that familiar with Central Park. I could do it on the first try. But anyway, we'll talk about some more fun stuff this week. I don't know. I have I'm just talking about regular life stuff this week, but there's a few, like I gave you the handy tip about what to do if you're at the end of your rope with your neighbor's dog. Get an electronic dog whistle with a loudspeaker, aim it at the window of your neighbor's house and hit the button. Hours of entertainment await you all hours of the day or night. Handy tip. The next handy tip I'll give you, we can talk about things that are going on, just like daily occurrences that make me think about broader things. I think that's a good topic. So Jesus, again, yesterday, I just shaved for the first time in like 7 days or more, but I'm feeling it. I was about to get on the video all scruffy today, and I was real. You're all talking about Steve. I'm looking at your comments about Steve Wallace and his wife, and that really sucks. Especially if you're in a good if you have a real partner in life and something like that happens, my God, I don't know what that's like because I've never had one of those, but that's got to be pretty bad because it was pretty bad when I lost my last relationship. It wasn't like I was happy about the way things went. But it's a little bit different when, in his situation for sure. But I'm going to talk about Jesus Calling again, and we'll just go to October. I'm going to share my screen again, and this is how I do it right here. We'll go to October. Come on, share. Do it. There you go. October, we'll just change the URL to the 29th. Get out of here. Hold on. I don't own the book. I've bought it for other people, so she's gotten money out of me. I've bought it for more than one person, but I don't read it from the book because I don't like holding on to books when I can just go online. So anyway, yesterday, Jesus Calling. I started out with that. Let's do it again. Yesterday, the book said, linger in my presence a while. Rein in your impulses to plunge into the day's activities. Beginning your day alone with me is essential preparation for success. A great athlete takes time to prepare himself mentally for the feat ahead of him before he moves a muscle. Similarly, your time of being still in my presence equips you for the day ahead of you. Only I know what will happen to you this day. I've arranged the events you will encounter as you go along your way. If you are not adequately equipped for the journey, you will grow weary and lose heart. So relax with me while I get you ready for action. And so once again, yesterday, we're going back in time. Yesterday, that lined right up with me again. Yesterday, I woke up early because it got cold inside here. We're finally in Houston fall. So at night, it's been getting down to like 45 degrees. And during the day, it goes up to like 75. So for the first time since I moved into this place, I set the mini split to heat instead of AC. The AC was on at night, but I had the thermostat set pretty high. So the AC wasn't running, but there was a fan running, and it was like 59 degrees inside when I woke up. I looked at the thermometer that I have hanging up, and it was 59 degrees in here. I'm like, ooh, it's a little chilly. And so I didn't have to go work at the bakery yesterday until 4 in the afternoon. So I'm already up. It's like, what did I say it was? I don't know. It was like 8 in the morning. It might have been 7:30. It was early. So I went out and started the car. And once again, I'm getting the same crap from this car. Every time it's cold, the only thing, I don't even want to talk about it in great detail because I still don't know what's wrong with the car. But I'm using an I get ODB and OBD confused all the time, and I always will. It's either the onboard OBD, the onboard, whatever the hell, or the old dirty bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan. ODB, OBD. I use them interchangeably. So if I ever say the ODB port, it's not the old dirty bastard port. It's the OBD port. So I used a battery tester that I have, an OBD scanner. I tested the battery both at the OBD port and on the battery clamps. When I start the car, I'm getting a pretty big voltage drop down to 8.4 volts inside the car, 9.6, 9.5 at the battery clamp. I'm like, maybe my battery's just going dead. Maybe I got to do this. Maybe I got to find a battery. So I look around again for a battery, and JS says low, it should be 12. 12 is like regular. 12 is where it should just be, maybe up to 14, but it shouldn't drop below 10 when you're starting the car. So that tells me that the battery might be on its way out, but the battery tester, the one at O'Reilly, AutoZone Parts, whatever, they all said that the battery's fine. But I'm not sure. So I look around, and Walmart had a cheap battery. They had a dirt cheap battery for my car for $70. They had one for 109, 140, 150-ish. They had one for 200 and up. So I'm like, I'll get the second one from the bottom of the barrel, because I got the one I got. Get the gold series. This is where I'm going to talk about what you just said, and I'm not to throw you under the bus or be mean, but I got a point to make. I got a cheap battery that I can afford because I'm broke right now. So I had to get a cheap battery. I couldn't get the gold. I had to get the plus. They had the regular, the plus, the gold, the platinum, and whatever's above that, vanadium. I don't know, but they had. I got the plus, but I rush out the door. The car starts, but it's hard to explain. There's a lot of it's really just throwing off codes and glitching out. The dashboard completely goes blank. The car's drivable, but it'll throw you all kinds of random error messages nonstop. It'll be like oil pressure low, and then that goes away, and your oil pressure's fine. I've been driving it I will pull over, but sometimes you turn the car off, it doesn't turn back on. The immobilizer shuts the car off. You have to turn it off, turn it on. Sometimes I let it sit for 5 minutes. It starts back up again like nothing's wrong. As soon as the temperature is above 60 degrees, no problems at all. When it's down to 50 degrees or below, the car's a mess. The temperature is the trigger. That's 100% for sure. So anyway, I got a battery. I didn't rush out the door, though. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I got the car to start, and I got the errors and all the bullshit to go away. And I let the car run for a few minutes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come back out and leave around 11 o'clock. It'll be about 65, 70 degrees out. I won't have any problems at all. The sun will be beating down on the car, and it's a black car, so the heat inside the engine bay is going to be even hotter. No problems. I go out, I start the car, nothing. Go to Walmart. But I didn't rush out the door. That was the thing. Jesus calling said, don't rush out the door today. Don't go running out the door trying to solve all your problems right away. Just chillax. Relax. Just forget about it right now. So I go to the local Walmart. Oh my God, this neighborhood where I live in the neighborhood called Spring. And all of the area around here looks nice. If you're driving through the area where I live, nothing looks trashy. Manicured lawns. It looks like, HOA kind of communities, but probably older, like back in the 80s, 70s. Not like the McMansion plexes that you see today, those god-awful particle board McMansion HOAs. These are like the old, Al Bundy size houses in the HOA, neighborhoods. The houses are a little closer together. The neighborhoods are on a more sensible grid pattern, better. But it's a nice neighborhood. Everything here looks nice until you step foot in a store. And I mean any store, any restaurant, any store, anything. As soon as you walk through that sliding door to any store in this neighborhood, it's like you went through the Stargate from that movie and you were like, whoa, and you ended up in Compton. You ended up at the welfare ghetto check cashing store in the middle of fucking Compton. maybe North Philadelphia or Baltimore, or like you ended up in a bad place. And you're looking around, you're like, where the fuck am I? Because the inside of the store doesn't match the neighborhood outside the store at all. At all. I'm telling you, you can go to the grocery store and the Kool-Aid packets will be locked behind a bulletproof glass case that the manager has to come and unlock just to get the fucking Kool-Aid packets out and into your shopping cart. So when you walk into this Walmart in my neighborhood, there's a gate. There's like these metal bars that you have to walk up to, and then they part to let you in. And then they close behind you. And we know what this is. Not like a regular Walmart where they've got the sensors by the door, so if you take a shopping cart full of stolen goods, the thing will go beep, 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 beep. No, these are gates. It's a fucking gate blocking you. So if you try to leave Walmart with a cart full of stolen goods, there's a fucking gate in your way that won't open. So you can't just run off into the sunset with a stolen cart. Plus the wheels on the shopping cart will lock. That's happened to me like 3 times. Went to fucking Home Depot, bought a bunch of stuff, tried to go out to my car. Shopping cart just locks. Woo, woo, woo. Some employee had to come over and look at my receipt and be like, what? I'm like, you fucking assholes just watched me ring my shit up at the self-checkout because there's no human checkout anymore. I had to ring up my own shit, do your job for you, and now you're not letting me take my stuff out to my car. This is why I go to Amazon. This is why I do everything on Amazon now. These stores fucking suck. And any of these CEOs, like Walmart or Target or Home Depot, whatever, you want to know why Amazon is kicking your ass? It's because your stores fucking suck. That's why. That's why Amazon is kicking your ass. Amazon can bring me the thing I'm asking for today if I order it today. If I go over to your crappy store, I'm probably not going to find the thing I need. I won't be able to find a hammer in Home Depot. I won't be able to find a wrench in Home Depot, big giant tool fucking warehouse with Lowe's right next door. Right next door. You can park your car and walk to both, and you won't find a fucking wrench or a hammer. And then you wonder why I ordered a wrench and hammer on Amazon, because, well, I went to Amazon. There's about 350 hammers to pick from and 4,000 wrenches. And after reading 150 reviews about each one, I decided here's the hammer and here's the wrench. Ordered that shit at 9 in the morning. At noon, they were here. Boom. That's why I went to Amazon. So anyway, I'm going way off the rails. Passionate about certain subjects. I hate Walmart with a passion. Hate Walmart. I hate Walmart. We have a website, or we had a website called The People of Walmart. They got the owner of I looked into this. The owner of the website got sued, and so I had to go to Reddit. Now it's Reddit/People of Walmart. But there's a People of Walmart website. There's no People of Target website. There's a fucking reason for that. And the reason was clear, as crystal clear, when I went into Walmart just to get a car battery and another tool. I wanted to get a magnetic pickup because I knew if I start messing around with my car battery, I'm going to drop something down in there. And I did today. So anyway, I knew I was going to drop something down in there, and I'm going to need a magnet to get the thing back out. So I was smart. I'm like, don't get just the car battery because you're going to be screaming and yelling if you don't get this other thing. Don't go digging around under your car hood without a magnet to pick up the tool you dropped down in there. So came into play. So anyway, I go to the back. I get my car battery. I put it in the cart. I get the tool. I put it in the cart. I go up to the front of the store. And as usual, out of 42 checkout lines, 2 of them had the light lit up. So there's only 2 open cash registers out of 45 or 50 up front. So I get in the big long line, and I'm 3 people from the register now. And I'm like, all right, this is moving. All of a sudden, boom, they made a big announcement over the loudspeaker. We're only taking cash now. No credit card transactions allowed. All of our systems have gone down. And there's nothing we can do about it. All of our systems are down. You're going to have to pay cash. Sorry. There's people with piles of groceries and shopping carts that are like 20 feet tall. And everybody's just looking at each other. I was like, you know what? Fuck this! I just fucking threw the cart. I was like, get me the fuck out of this shithole. I walked out. I was like, to hell with this. I'm done. I'm not even going to wait around to see if they figure their shit show out. I'm out. Walked out. Went out to the parking lot. I'm pissed. I mean, look at me. And it's a day later and I'm still pissed. So I'm pissed. I'm not like throwing shade at people. I'm not. I'm just like, whatever. Have fun putting this shit back on the shelf, asshole. I left the shopping cart sitting right there. I'm like, fuck these people. I went out to the parking lot. I get in. Now, this is the funny part. I get in my car. I call the Walmart over by the Woodlands. The Woodlands. If you know anything about the Woodlands, nicer neighborhood. So it's an extra 5 or 6 miles away from my house. But it's right on the edge of the Woodlands, which is like the richest neighborhood in Houston. So I'm like, well, let me call these people. So I get on the customer service desk at Walmart by the Woodlands. I asked her point blank, I'm like, are your cash registers working? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, so you can run credit card transactions and you're not having any issues with that or anything like that? She's like, not that I know of. And I kind of like explained to her what was going on. And she was like, yeah, no, that sounds like, and I said, yeah, I'm over in the spring store. And she goes, oh, and she starts laughing. Like, they know, they know that store is a total shit show. She's like, no, come on over. We'll take care of you. I'm like, all right, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Click, I drive over there. Now the difference, 5 miles is all it takes. Go to the parking lot in Spring. Or it's actually still considered to be Spring, but it's right on the border of the Woodlands. So every single camera that you see now is capturing your face and marking who you are, JS. You can't go, if you see the camera, that means it saw you and it got your face. So you got to walk around with a COVID mask and a ski mask and ski goggles and cover up your ears with earmuffs and make sure your hands aren't visible, showing your fingerprints or anything. I mean, if that's how you want to live your life, then you might not get on those AI cameras, but they're everywhere. They're everywhere now. But aside from that, so I go over to the Walmart in the Woodlands. First thing I notice, the parting of the sliding door. Oh my God, there's no steel gate blocking my way. I can walk right in. Wow, this is nice. I look over at the checkout lines. There's at least 5 lights on the checkout lines out of the 50 cash registers. At least 5 of them are lit up. And there's no big long line going around the store. And I'm like, yeah, this is a good deal. This is a good call. I go back. I grab my battery. Same battery. Put it in the cart. I go over to where the tools are. Now I find a better magnetic pickup tool. Way better than the one that I was just about to buy for half the price. So instead of $9, I got it for $4, $4 or $5. And it's a beefier one and it's longer and the magnet was bigger. And I'm like, well, okay, little bonus, just a small little bonus of being able to, for my trouble of having to go out here the second time to go to Walmart. Go up to the cashier, there's no line. Right up to the cashier, put the battery down, put my tool down, she rings it up. I want to use my Walmart cash. I had $11 in Walmart cash from them screwing up a grocery delivery a while back. And I figured this is my last trip to Walmart. If I never have to go to Walmart again, I want to make sure I use this $11 in Walmart cash. So I already had the app installed on my phone. All you had to do, it was kind of weird, but a QR code comes up on the terminal and you scan it with their app. And then it asks you, do you want to use your Walmart cash? And I said, yes. And then it said, oh, you've paid. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I have a credit card stored with them because I was doing the online grocery delivery and I didn't want to have to keep entering the card over and over. So what they did at the checkout was when I scanned that QR code, it applied my Walmart cash and then it charged my card the rest. And then it puts a receipt right on my phone. And then the cashier didn't even know what the fuck was going on. And I'm like, look, I just paid. She's like, did you? Oh, look at that. And then I'm like, because she had no idea how any of this worked, and neither did I. And so I'm like, I hope maybe I got the battery for free, but I didn't. It did. The money did come out of the bank. My bank actually sent me a fraud alert. This fucking horrible bank that I have here. About every fourth or fifth transaction I make, they send me a text message saying they suspect fraud, and I have to reply within a certain amount of time, or they'll freeze my account. And it could be anything. You could be trying to fucking pump gas. So I can't swipe that card without having the phone in my hand, because they might hold up the transaction if I can't hit yes fast enough. I hate this bank that I deal with, but I haven't had time I can only solve one problem at a time. So card is my problem right now. So anyway, I get home, I get the stuff, I get out to the car, with my $11 off. It was manageable. I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of money left in the bank just to, wait. I get paid tomorrow. I'll wake up with money in the bank tomorrow from the bakery, and I should have a check in my mailbox tomorrow. So I'll be back. I'll be a thousandaire again until I pay my rent, and then I won't be a thousandaire, and I'll have to wait until I find enough money to become a thousandaire once again. But someday I'll be a thousandaire again. But right now it's not in the cards. Forget being a billionaire. Someday I would be happy to be a thousandaire for more than a couple of weeks. That would be cool. But anyway, I get home, and remember what Jesus Calling said. Don't take your time, chill. So because of how long it took for me to get home, by the time I get home, I'm like, I'm just going to keep the battery in the passenger seat well that I just bought. If I get stranded somewhere, fine, put it in. But I don't feel like screwing around with this today at all. At all. That was yesterday. I have to be to work at 4 p.m, and now it's like closing in on 1, and I'm going to screw around with changing a car battery. And yeah, back in the day, that's no big deal. But now, today's cars, who fucking knows what's involved with that? It's not always going to be just put old battery out, new battery in, and everything's good. No, it might not be like that. It might be. Yesterday I was like, you know what? If anything goes wrong, and I got to be to work at 4, I can't be dealing with this. I can't be trying to get my car started when I know it'll start without doing this. I'm not playing. Forget it. I'll go to the bakery tonight. Hopefully it'll start when I go home, and I'll come home and I'll do it tomorrow. And so I went to the bakery last night. I worked, left at 10 o'clock. The car started right up. I drove home. Everything was fine. It really, this problem hasn't stopped me from going anywhere. But I can't trust this car at all right now because of it. Because it triggers the immobilizer sometimes. When it's glitching out, the car won't start. And I have to screw around with it to get the car to start. And so AAA is fully active now. I can get 100-mile tows if I need it. I I can get towed 100 miles now if I need it. So but I don't want to get towed. That's the point. I don't want to do this. Anyway, my VW, I used my scan tool. I dug deep into the car to see lots of different things. I even tried to fix the airbag light, but all I did was reach under the seat and jiggle some wires around. I didn't get into it. I didn't unclip and clip things and like reclip connections. I just wanted to see if I could jiggle some stuff around and get it to go away, and that didn't work. I cleared the code for the airbag light and it went away, and then I start the car again, it comes right back. So whatever's triggering it, but it did say it's a sensor under the passenger seat, exactly what the former owner told me. So at least I've got a computer telling me, look under the seat for this sensor. That's what it is. But I don't need to fix that right now. That won't stop the car from driving. So anyway, I got a license plate bulb that keeps turning on and off. I've got 2 license plate bulbs. One of them decides to randomly turn on and off, and when it turns off, it throws an error code on the dashboard. And it's actually, the car throws a big, long paragraph long error code when that license plate bulb turns off. If your engine blew up, it wouldn't give you that much information. So it's annoying because it throws this whole like scrolling paragraph of text about your damn license plate bulb. But it don't tell you shit about what's actually happening when I start the car and it glitches out. Just so, oh no. So yeah, thank you for the 3 paragraphs of information about changed license plate light bulb, but absolutely nothing about why the car won't start when it's cold. Can't tell me that one. So anyway, I can't find consistent information when I look online about this car. I'll get 20 different answers from 20 different places. Nothing. And that is what it is. I mean, any car could be like that. So I don't know. But anyway, I got a new battery. And because there were signs that my battery was not great. It may be tolerable and it might not be the problem, but it would make sense to get a new one. I'm going to run some tests on it tomorrow to see if the tests give me a better result than the previous battery. And if not, I still have the old battery. I didn't turn it in for the refund yet on the recycling refund. So, but people have mentioned, did I fuck myself by getting a cheap battery? So my point about that I wanted to make earlier is a cheap battery that works is going to beat the crap out of a high-end battery that's at the end of its life every time. So this cheap battery has a 2-year warranty. I have an electronic receipt. I don't have to dig up a paper receipt. I can call up the receipt anytime if I have to cash in the warranty on this battery. Now I know that I have a new battery. I know the date that it was installed. I don't know how old the battery is I just took out. So at least I have a battery, and it was like $120. So if that doesn't fix my problem, at least I have a new battery. And oh crap. I just smacked a hard drive. It shut off, but it does that from time to time. We'll just see if it comes back. And there it is. All right. Anyway, like I said, I don't know if the old battery's bad. I'm not even, if it's still good, I'll keep it as backup, I guess. I don't know what to do with it, but a cheap battery that works is better than a high-end battery that's dead. I have another analogy that goes right along with that, a real-life experience. and I had no choice. We were camping on the 4th of July. I've shared this story before, but it's a good one. We were driving back on a 4-wheel drive trail with, I can test. So yeah, Walmart can test the old battery. I can test it. I've tested it 5-6 times. Auto Parts, O'Reilly, Zone, Marked, whatever, they tested it. So I have numerous tests on the battery, but a bad battery can still test that it's good. The voltage drops when I start my car down more than it should. But otherwise, and the battery showed some other weird things. So it could just be on the edge of replace it now before it gets worse, because at least you can start your car now. And it's cold. I mean, the first cold day of the fall is like Black Friday for Die Hard and the battery companies, because that's when everybody's car battery dies at the same time. That's when you find out you have a bad battery usually. But I don't know if that's going to fix my car, and I got a reason for that. I won't know until tomorrow morning, because it's supposed to be cold tonight. So the part that AI thinks is bad isn't the alternator or the battery or anything else. It's a computer module, and it's a known issue, and it's like $300 for the part and 2 hours of labor to install the part, but you also have to hook up a computer to it and program some shit, which is, I could replace the part myself because it's BC, body module, body control, BCM is what they're saying next. And you can't even get a new one. So I'll have to get a used one or a aftermarket or something, because they're discontinued. So I'm taking it to the garage at that point, and I'm going to expect to spend $500-600 fixing my car. At that point, there's nothing else I can do. But I'm not going to have my car being like this, where I don't know. If it was something glitchy that I could deal with and it doesn't stop me from driving the car, but I can't roll the dice that every time I turn the key, I don't know if the car is going to start or not. I can't live like that. So I got to do this. If the car turns out to be an electronic lemon, I'm going to get rid of it, because if it's just mechanically, the car is fine. I can't see anything mechanically wrong with it. It drives good. It's a nice car. It drives. I mean, I don't see anything. I don't feel anything. It doesn't seem like anything's wrong with the car. It's a 12-year-old car, or 13-year-old car or whatever. So, I mean, if I have to replace this thing and then it doesn't break again, I mean, if I can go a year without too many things going wrong, I mean, it's just, the car's going to tell me what to do with it. And at some point, I'll just be like, you know what, peace out. And, I can beat myself up for not buying the Toyota that I wanted to go look at. But who knows if the Toyota would have done something. They're reliable, and there was a lot less electronics on a Toyota Corolla than on the Volkswagen in terms of all this computer BS. But if the car is mechanically sound but electronically just screwed, I'll get rid of it. I mean, I'll get it to the point where I can sell it and just peace out on it. But right now, I think I'm just trying to keep the mindset of 3 months ago, I didn't have a car. And I was riding a bicycle everywhere. So having a car that needs something fixed, I'm still in a better position than I was when I was trying to figure out how to buy a car. So it's a known issue with the Volkswagen, this specific issue, when it gets cold. Capacitors, something to do with capacitors. So there's a trick. If it happens to me and I get stranded somewhere, I'm going to keep a 10mm socket wrench in my car handy, because I can pull the battery terminal cable, or I can pull the battery clamps off, touch them together a few times, put the positive back on, put the negative back on, get back in the car, turn the key on, let it sit for like 10 seconds, and then start the car, and it should start right up. And I've already had to do that. So I know that's probably, if I have to drive it like that for 3 weeks whenever it's cold, that's about a minute to start. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, but if I have to do that here and there to get the car started, and they say touching the battery terminals together clears out, or discharges any capacitors that are in that module that could be flaking out, forcing the computer to reboot itself, put the battery cables back on, start the car doesn't know anything's wrong with it, so it'll let you start it. And then as long as the temperature is warm enough, you won't have the problem. It's only when it's 50 degrees or lower, then the problem pops right back up. I might go outside after the live stream and start the car, just see what it does. Tomorrow morning, I don't have to work tomorrow, so tomorrow morning I can go screw around with it. If it flakes out in the morning, I can just shut it off, come back in, go outside when it's warm, see what it does. And then I have all day tomorrow to pack a backpack and ride my bicycle. I'm getting fat. I've gained over 10 pounds since I got the car. So I do want to ride my bike. I want to get back into cycling and fitting that in. So I'm not opposed to riding my bicycle in tomorrow, but I kind of want to, what I want to do is take a bunch of clothes and a bunch of stuff with me. The last bicycle ride was the day I bought the car. JS. The day I bought the car, I rode my bike, I looked at the car, I rode my bike back to my house. They brought the car to my house. I gave them the money. Bike's been hanging up ever since. I haven't touched a bicycle since. And that's fine. My feet feel better. I feel generally better. I think I can go on a bike ride without my feet falling apart, but I'm getting fat, like fat. And because my appetite won't die. Like, I'm hungry, like an athlete gets hungry, but I'm not running like an athlete runs to earn the right to eat whatever you want. So I'm paying for it. But I can lose the weight as fast as I gain it. That's the thing. If I get on the bike and just bang, 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 I can lose 10 pounds in less than a week. And from there, it'll get harder, but I'll feel the 10 pounds and I'll actually see it on my belt. I can gain and lose 50 pounds in like so fast to blow your mind, both directions. I just can't, I don't have the willpower to eat freaking beans I can't eat nothing but leaves and fruit and like maybe a little bite of steak or whatever you got to do to be thin. I can't do that. I can't. Like, I got to eat. I have to. 2,000 calories don't do it. It just doesn't for a whole day. OMAD, I don't even know what that is. Diet. The only thing you need to know about a diet is you have to eat less calories than you burn. That's how you lose weight. So if I need to eat 3,000 calories to feel full, I gotta burn 4. You get 2,000 just for being alive and doing a regular day. You get 2,000 right off the rip. You don't gotta do nothing. That's what you get. If you sit on your ass and do nothing, you get $2,000 in the bank. As long as you don't go over 2,000 calories for the day, you're good. But that's not enough. It depends on what I'm eating. I made steamed cabbage the other day, and at first I thought that was pretty good, but then I looked at how much calories are in the butter, and I'm like, fuck. Because the steamed cabbage is nothing. It's like 8 calories for half a pound of cabbage or something crazy like that. As soon as you throw that butter in, forget it. Forget it. But it's not as bad for you as like McDonald's. I mean, a thing of steamed cabbage is better than going to get a bag of McDonald's. So, I mean, it's all relative. I only eat one meal a day, really. I think that's part of my problem is if I would eat more in the morning, I wouldn't be so hungry at the end of the day. Um, but normally, if I'm kind of left to my own and I have no schedule to follow, I'll eat a breakfast and it may or may not be good for me. Like, I mean, today I had a Dubai chocolate brownie for breakfast because I had it. I got a freezer. I'm working the night shift now. I get to take baked goods home. I got boxes in the freezer right now. I got a stockpile of delicious, very high calorie count cookies right now, and I'm not going to eat more than one. But for breakfast, I'll have a big chunk chocolate chip cookie waiting for me tomorrow. I'll heat up the oven to 290, put that on a little cookie sheet, throw that in at 290 for 7 minutes while I'm doing other stuff, pull that out, have my coffee, and I'll have a big giant chocolate chip cookie with some coffee, bang. But I'm not really going to eat again until night, till probably 9, 10 o'clock at night, whenever I decide to eat. And so, but that cookie is like close to 1,000 calories just for that stupid thing. So, problem is, I got two options: ride my bike, hike, do all the free things that I can do, yoga class in the room in here. I've got a little bit less room in my yoga room now because I got a bed and some other stuff, but I can still do it. I can still make room. You don't need a lot of room. I even got curtains now so nobody can look in me looking at my screwed up downward dog with a beer belly hanging out the bottom of it. Like I can have the peace of mind knowing nobody's watching me do yoga, but I can do that. But I'm not as motivated right now, mainly because I wore myself out on the bike, but I'm coming back. I don't think it would be a big deal, and I think it would be fun to ride my bike on Saturday. But I would get to the bakery and everybody would be like, "Oh my God, your car didn't start, did it?" Which is fine. I mean, I can't afford to fix the car until like the middle of November. If it's going to be $600, that's what I'm planning on. I'm not even going to be able to take it to a mechanic until I got some money in the bank, and I'm still not sure. I've got 3 mechanics that are close by, and I don't know which one to take it to. One of them specializes in European cars, but I don't know if that means they'll be more expensive. All the reviews, I just don't know. I don't know. So I'm just going to have to kind of see what's up. I may just say, what would it cost to replace this part on this car, and get a quote from all 3? Even if that's not what's actually wrong, it'll give me an idea. If one's half the price of the other, I'll go to the one that's cheaper because it's a pretty basic job. I just I don't have what I would need to finish the job because you got to program stuff, and I don't have what I need to do it. And it would cost $150 for me to get the thing that I need, plus the $300 for the. I could probably get the part for $150 myself on eBay. $150 for a tool to do it myself, but then I got to run into like, do I even know how to do it myself? And is this going to turn into me screaming and yelling and obscenities and cussing and throwing tools and getting all mad and then still taking it to the mechanic? I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck it. Take it to the garage. Let's get it done. Car. That's what they do. Cars do this. So whatever. It's not the first time I've had to get a car fixed. So anyway. Cheap battery. Because I knew as soon as I said I got the cheap battery, somebody was going to say, oh, you shouldn't get the cheap battery. Okay, so I got another analogy for that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. If I had money in the bank, if I was a thousandaire, I would have got a nice battery. I would have got a nice expensive battery. But I was out camping for the 4th of July. And we were camping on a 4-wheel drive trail that had 7 creek crossings to get to the campsite. And there was a lot of really sharp, gravelly rocks on this trail with jagged edges. And I had some pretty good tires on my Jeep Cherokee at the time. They weren't cheap tires, but they had some miles on them. And on the way back to the campsite, I got a flat tire. But we got to the campsite before all the air came out. So we plugged it, put the air back in, fine. It was holding air, checked it in the morning, no air leakage. Good, we're good for the weekend. All right. So we go canoeing, and we have to go back down to the end of the trail. On the way out of the woods, I got a flat tire. About a quarter mile later, I got another flat tire. Not flat yet, but pss, 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 pss. But now it's pss, 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 pss. And then before we got to the road, a third flat tire popped up, and that one just went psh, like that. But we were at the road at that point, and so I'm like, we had two vehicles, so we weren't stranded, but I'm like, holy fuck, what do I do now? Have you ever had 3 flat tires at the same time on your vehicle? 3. So, it's the 4th of July. It's the 4th of July. We're 50 miles from the nearest town of any kind. 50 miles out in the wilderness, away from any town, on the 4th of July. July 4th, which was a Saturday that year, which made it even worse, because tomorrow's going to be Sunday. So we plugged 2 of the flat tires, and they held air. I have an air compressor, so we were good there. 2 of the flat tires held air. The third one had a rip in the sidewall, like just a chunk carved right out of the sidewall, like a triangular hunk, just gone. That tire was done. And in the old school Jeep Cherokees, they have a donut spare tire in the back. You could get a full size, but I didn't have a full size. I had the donut, so I had to put the freaking donut on. So now we're on our way to a town 50 miles away with 2 flat tires that are slowly leaking air, even though they're plugged. But you could tell they were leaking slowly. But we had an air compressor, so okay, well, if we have to, we'll pump them back up. We have to go 50 miles with a donut up front, 2 leaking tires in the back, and a regular tire that's doing all right. We get to the town. It's the 4th of July. Remember, nothing's open. Every single auto garage, tire shop, Firestone, Jiffy Lube, whatever, all of them closed. But we saw that there was a Walmart. So we go to the Walmart and we walk in and we go to the auto area, and they were open. They were open for 1 more hour. They closed in an hour. It was like 11 in the morning, and they're closing at noon. Closed. A lot of Walmarts don't close, but this is out in Hillbillyville. Like, we were at a town, but it was still Hillbillyville. It wasn't like an actual town. I mean, 50 miles just to get to a town that had a Walmart. And so so I go up and I tell him what I have. And he goes, okay, we got 4 tires. And I'm like, okay, so which ones do I get to pick from? And the guy was like, no, we have 4 tires in stock, 4 tires that will fit your vehicle. 1 set of 4 tires. There's no 4 different tires to pick from. It was, we have 4 tires that will fit your Jeep. And I'm like, oh, I guess those are the ones. What am I going to do? Say no? So the funny thing is, I was expecting to have to spend $600 to $1,000 to get tires put on. They were $420 for the 4 tires. I just got 4 tires for a Jeep Cherokee for $420. So keep in mind, these probably aren't the best tires. They were Goodyear, but I mean, good year, whatever, bad year, it don't matter. A bad year, a set of bad years will get me where I got to go better than the Michelins that are on there right now. The ones that are on there are obviously not doing the job. So, yeah, put the bad years on. I don't care. Just get it done. So they put the 4 tires on. And I paid the $420, which was the magic number for us, if you know what I mean. We were like, oh, it's meant to be. So we got the magic bad year tires. And then guess what happened? Because I got the cheap ass tires. We got back to the campsite, or we got back to where we had to go, and then we drove back to the campsite across the 7 creek crossings. And guess what? We made it to the campsite with no problems. Then we got back into the truck and we went down to the lake to go canoeing. And we made it without any problems. And then we got back in the truck and we went back to the campsite. And guess what? We didn't have any problems. Then we left the campsite, went back down the 7 creek crossings and down the trail again. Went out and watched the fireworks that night. Then we came all the way back through the 7 creek crossings, went back to the campsite. Then we decided to go swimming in an illegal swimming spot in the middle of the night. So we got back in the truck, drove back out through the woods, across the 7 creek crossings and the jagged rock trail, went swimming for a while. Then we went back, drove back to the campsite across the 7 creeks and through the creek crossings and all the stuff. And still no problems. And then the next morning, we wake up to see a tow truck, a special, I don't even know what kind of tow truck this was, working its way through the trails, going across the creeks and stuff, thinking, boy, if that was me, that would be about $2,000 coming out of my wallet. If I had to be the one getting that tow truck back here, that's what it looked like. It looked like about $2,000 crawling its way through the fucking woods to somebody's campsite. I don't know, but it wasn't me. And so then what happened? We packed up our camp. We drove out the trail to get back to the road. We drove all the way back to Pittsburgh, no problems. And for the rest of the time I owned that truck, I never had another problem with the tires. They never leaked air. I never had problems with them. The truck got stolen, and that's how my relationship with my Cherokee ended. But the tires were fine. What did Jared? Who said what here? Don't get Goodyear is good. Don't get the Chinese specials like Lionheart or Ling Long. I could have got like Ching Chong Ding Dong tires. If that's all they had, if all they had were Ching Chongs, I would have had a set of Ching Chongs to go back to the campsite with that night. And I would have just had to deal with it. Because we went to Walmart an hour before they closed on the 4th of July at a town 50 miles away, rocking 3 flat tires, and nothing in town was open except for them, and all they had were 4 tires. So it wasn't like I had a buffet of options to pick from that day. It was like, well, these are the tires. That's it. That's what you got. That's what we're doing. That's it. So I didn't want to go to like a Firestone or a Pep Boys or any of that garbage. I hate those places. Those corporate garages suck. I hate those. I would have done it if I had to. But I've just had bad experiences at these corporate run garages, but I don't look at it like even a corporate run garage, if it's run by good people and you got good people working there, you could be okay with it. I don't want to go to Jiffy Lube, but if I know that, Goober down at Jiffy Lube can do a bad banging oil change and he's not going to, forget to put the plug back in the thing, or he's not going to my engine's not going to fall apart 3 miles from the garage, then fine, I'll go see Goober down at Jiffy Lube if that's what I have to. I don't care, but I'm pretty picky about where I'll take my car, even for an oil change. I'll take it to a garage that can't do it today, and they'll get around to it tomorrow instead of waiting 10 minutes at Jiffy Lube, and having to deal with all their nonsense. If I know that my car is going to get taken care of, but sometimes today was one of those, or yesterday was one of those times where the battery, I'm like, I got to get the battery that I can afford and still have a few bucks left in my account instead of the $250 gold standard platinum edition, whatever the hell, Die Hard 50 below zero rated, whatever it is, 950 CCA, whatever the rating is. I had to get the battery. I didn't get the bottom of the barrel because I could afford one step up. But I'm like, this is what I get. This is what I'm doing. I did it. So, but today, once again, Jesus was like, you know what? You're not going to rush into this today because I'm going to let you sit in your house listening to a car alarm for 6 hours straight. Like I started out the show today. So for 5-6 hours, all day long. And I'm like, the hell with that. I am not going outside to start tinkering with my car, even to change a battery where this car alarm is going off next to me, because the first time a socket drops down into the engine bay, which it did, I would have thrown a wrench right at that fucking truck. So instead, I was smart enough to have a magnetic pickup, and I was able to go and get my socket back out. Because there's a clamp to hold the battery, and you need an extension for the socket. And my socket extension was a little bit shorter than I would have liked, and so it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, I was in and out of there. It wasn't like a big deal. I pulled the clamp out with the magnet because I could barely get my hand down in there to pull it out with my fingers. And so I get it out. I clean the clamp. I mean, I'm pretty thorough. I took a wire brush and cleaned the clamp off and cleaned the bolt and put grease on the bolt. I mean, I'm like, if I'm going to take something apart, even something stupid like that, I pulled the terminals off. I pulled the clamps off the battery before I put the new battery in. I took a wire brush that's made for batteries and twisted it around inside the battery clamps and cleaned those all up and took some spray and cleaned them. They're shiny. They look brand new. And I did it to the negative and the positive. And then I put the battery in. I cleaned out the battery bay, like just sprayed I have this dust blower, and I just went psh, and like blew out any dust that was, cleaned it up the best I could, put it all back in, way better than what the mechanic would do if I asked them to do it. And so I got it all, put like I said, I put grease on the clamp bolt, so it's never going to seize or have a problem ever. Just because I'll put a few drops of bicycle grease on there, done. And so I put it all back together, and I get in the car to go start the car, and what's the first thing that happens? The same shit. The same error codes, the same thing as it would do if if everything was dead, if it was cold. And so I'm pissed off because I didn't even get one good start after changing the battery. And it wasn't even cold. It was like 70 degrees by now. And so I'm like, ugh! So I knew from my research, I never put the hood down. So I get out, turn the car off, take the clamps back off the battery and touch them together 4 or 5 times. Just touch the clamps together. They say that will clear out any electricity that's left in capacitors, and it will literally force the computer to reset itself completely. So I'm like, is this one of them fucking cars that you have to program and reset a computer every time you change the battery because it knows that you changed the battery? It's like, oh, this battery's not the same. Oh, I can't do anything because you put a new battery in it. And so I didn't know. I'm just like, whatever. So I put the thing back. I put it all back together, tighten down the clamps on the battery, get back in the car, turn the key to the on I turn the ignition to on, but I don't start the car. I let it sit there for like a minute until it stops beeping and, all the things it normally does. And I just let it sit there. And then I turned it off, pulled the key out, let it sit for another minute. Put the key back in, car started right up, no problems. Boom, done. So now I let the car idle for a while. I've got a bunch of stray cats. There's another. I had a stray cat. And I'm like, so I pet it one day. And then he started hanging out a little more. And then I gave him a piece of ham. Now this cat's like here. Like now this cat lives here. Not inside, but on the property. And now this cat, anytime I walk outside, he's like, hey, what's up? And he comes right up to me. Got some ham? But I'm not feeding him every day. I'm just giving him a little treat here and there. Cause like you're a cat. You gotta go eat the mice, rats, anything else that's going around you, snakes. I'm hiring you to do a job, cat. And that is to keep mice from coming in here, snakes. This is Texas. There could be a lot of those. You're to keep rats, snakes, mice, any other critters or creepy crawlies from coming to my house. In exchange, you get to eat everything you kill. And occasionally you get a piece of ham or something. That's a good deal. You don't want the cat to just expect you to feed it every day, because then the thing's just going to get lazy and it's not going to do its job. It's basically like EBT for cats. You just give them an EBT card every day. The cat's just going to be sitting on my front porch every day waiting for an EBT, waiting for the first of the month. But you feed them like, here's a piece of ham. Now go eat stuff. Go fuck off for a few days. I'll make sure you don't starve to death. But you're going to have to figure, you're a cat. You got to figure out how to do it. Like, this is your job. So, so now, about a week later, now today, I've got 4 cats. They must talk to each other. They figured out that this is where the handouts are. When I open up the door to my place, there's 4 cats sitting out front. Waiting to get fed. And I'm like, this ain't I'm telling you, this isn't the welfare line cat. Now there's 4 of them. So what I'm thinking is I'll go to the grocery store next time I go grocery shopping, and I'll get a box of cat food. And like maybe every 2-3 days, I'll put a bowl of cat food under the place, like hidden, like out of the way. And I'll be like, here, you won't starve, but this ain't going to be enough. It's like getting government cheese and a few other things. Like it's like going on WIC. You're not going to get enough to live, but you won't starve to death either. It's not like getting 10 grand a month on your EBT card and eating filet mignon and lobster while I'm fucking starving. You're going to get like maybe a bowl of kibble, like once or twice a week. And then you got to kill. You got to go around and kill things and eat them. Like that's what you do. That's what nature made you to do. You're not coming in the house, but we're cool now. They let me pet them and they're like my friends now. Yeah, but like just like the people in the ghetto living off their EBT cards until the 1st of November, these cats will be conditioned to just be sitting right outside my door 24/7, waiting for the UN rice truck to pull up to Somalia and dump a bag of rice out on the ground. Like, it ain't happening. I'm not doing that. But I will. But if you do just feed them a little bit, and they know that you're going to help them a little bit, they will stay at your property and just patrol. And now that there's 4 cats on patrol, snakes, mice, lizards, I don't know, whatever they would go after, I'm not going to see a snake. I'm not going to have to, there won't be any snakes slithering around under my place unless it's a snake that's big enough to eat a cat. So I don't know, like even a rattlesnake, man. I've seen videos on YouTube. Look it up. Cat versus snake. The cat wins. Cats will get into a fight with a cobra and kill the cobra because the cobra can't bite them because the cats are too fast. So I think that's a good trade. I'm not going to have a cat inside my place, especially a stray cat. That's too. Ugh, I can't. And I'm not opposed to cats. I like cats. I like dogs. I like cats. I don't. I'm not doing vet bills. I can't even. I can't even go to the doctor if I get sick. So I'm not taking a fucking cat to the doctor. If I can't go to the doctor, neither can the cat. Like that's. I'm not fucking playing. So if that's how it's going to be, it's how it's going to be. If you cats want to live here, you're going to have to work for dinner. If you go to the mansion next door and meow at their doorstep, maybe they'll take you in and give you a life of luxury. Maybe you can live like that grumpy cat on Facebook, the one that got to eat filet mignon and lobster his whole life and made millions of dollars and had his own line of Grumpachino Cappuccino. And that cat lived a life of luxury just because he was an angry cat on social media. You go to the mansion next door. It could be your golden ticket. But if you're gonna stay here on my broke ass property with all these little trailer homes on it, ain't nobody letting you in. So yeah, like I mean, they'll live a good life. I mean, they're more free to roam and do what they want to do. If they're outdoor cats, they don't like it here, they can go down there. And they can go anywhere they want. Now, I ain't telling them that they can't leave or they can go do what they want. But couple pieces of ham, with giving it to one cat was all it took. Now I got 4. It came out of nowhere. Now today I'm out working on my car. I got 4 cats running around my legs, doing like figure 8s between my legs, and I'm like, yo. And they're just like they're just like, yeah, this guy's got ham. And they told all their friends, and now all their friends are here, and they're like, come on, man, where's the ham? We heard you got ham. I'm like, yeah, who told you that? It's just like the EBT card, except they're cats. So I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go. But yeah, the next thing. So the other thing that I was thinking about, what life lessons could I have for you? One of you, when I told you that the credit card machine at Walmart stopped working, cash is king was your comment. And yeah, exactly. What I couldn't help but wonder, oh shit, is this the one? Is this the end? Is this the day where the Illuminati finally decides to turn off credit cards after they told us that we can't live without them and they don't want us using cash anymore? Now we turn them off and they don't work. I'm like, is this like worldwide the credit cards are done? Or is this just the ghetto ass Walmart down the street? Turned out it was just the ghetto ass Walmart down the street for me that I'll never go to again. But I watched the people inside the store go crazy when they were told that they couldn't use their card again. So imagine what is going to happen when the EBT card stops working in 2 days. And on top of that, if the EBT is done, what happens when nobody can use a card to buy anything anymore? And the only way you can do it is with cash. But you can't get cash out anymore because the cards don't work. So you can't go to the ATM and get the cash. You're going to have to go to the bank. There's going to be lines at the bank, people trying to pull their cash out. And then the bank's just going to go, oh, we're closed, and pull the window down, pull the window shade over the fucking window and say, we're closed. And that's it. So I saw how crazy people got at Walmart just because they couldn't use a card to pay for their pile of groceries that was probably going to be paid for with an EBT card, or that they were just planning to steal through the self-checkout line somehow. In fact, that ghetto-ass Walmart didn't even have self-checkout anywhere. I looked to see if there was self-checkout because I was only getting 2 things. They did not have self-checkout there. So it was an insane shit show when the credit card stopped working. And that was just one Walmart in the ghetto. Imagine when that's every single store in America all at the same time. And that will happen. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I love to carry cash. On a normal day, back in my old life, I would always try to have $500 in my wallet. Why? Because lots of different reasons. I did a lot of Craigslist transactions in cash, that kind of stuff. And I treated my wallet like a cash register drawer at a store. I made sure to have enough 20s, 10s, 5s, and singles to cover any transaction with exact change. Because you buy something on Craigslist, you can't be like, oh, it's only $15. I got a 20, you got 5. You can't ask for change, especially if you haggle somebody. You like, say you got $20 in your pocket and you haggle someone on Craigslist and they go, okay, I'll do it for 15. And then you go, oh, well, all I got's a 20, you got a 5. You just haggled them for 15 and now you expect them to give you change. Fuck that. It doesn't work like that. That's why you got to carry cash. $500 at all times, and I wouldn't spend it. I do use my card. I finally got over the whole they're tracking everything you do, because they're tracking everything you do. It doesn't fucking matter what you do. They're tracking everything you do. You go and pay cash for something, they got you on camera with a facial recognition software and AI zoomed in to what you're handing back and forth. They're looking at the cash. They got your face. They know where you were. They know what time it was. They know that you went to the ATM 2 days ago and pulled out the cash. They know. So there's nothing, I mean, you can't fuck, you're just going to have to live with it. There's no way to live in this world anymore without them tracking and knowing every fucking thing you do, say, think, or do. You can't hide from them anymore. The biggest problem, I'll diverge a little bit. The biggest problem that they had for a while after they, passed all the laws to spy on us and collect all the data is that they had too much data and they didn't know what to do with it. So a human being can't sort through every single text message that every single person in America sends every other person in America every day. But they have them. Every time you sent a titty picture to a guy that you liked on Tinder, they got your titty picture. Someone at the NSA can be like, there's her titties right there. They can just bang one out in the back room of the NSA. They got more titty pictures than they know what to do with. And every single titty picture you ever sent a guy on Tinder is in their database. Problem is, they can't sort through all this shit. But now they got an AI bot. You can go to Grok or Google Gemini. Grok can read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica in 1/10 of a second and tell you anything that's in that fucking encyclopedia, and not only tell you what's in it, but decipher it all in such a way that it can explain things to you and answer questions as if you're talking to a human being. You're not just getting links in a search engine anymore. You ask it some stuff, and it's just going to turn around and tell you in a conversational tone what you're answering the question that you're asking it. And that's just one encyclopedia. Grok or any of these AI bots can instantly parse through billions of records of data in the blink of an eye. So now that they have all of your data from anything you've ever said, every email you've ever sent, every email you've ever received, every phone call you've ever made, logged, every text message, every fax, every document you've ever gotten back and forth in the mail, every single thing. They scan all your letters that you get in the mail. Anything you get in the mail, they got it. I get an email every morning telling me what's going to be in my email, in my mailbox. They know who's sending you what and when and how. Every single thing you do is tracked now. And now they've got a robot that can go through all of it. They've got a bot that can look at every single piece of data they've ever collected about you for your entire life, and in 1/10 of a second figure out every single thing they want to know about you. So they can tell the bot, you could ask the bot at the NSA or the CIA, I want a list of everybody who bought a shovel, some lye, a rope, and shotgun shells, all within the span of 3 weeks. And within half a second, they're going to get a compiled list of every single person who bought a shovel, some lye, some rope, some shotgun shells, and garbage bags, or whatever else you would need to bury a body. And they're going to have it like that. And they're going to know whether you went to 20 different stores to do it over a span of 3 weeks, whether you used cash because they got you in the parking lot, they got your license plate, you walked into the store wearing a COVID mask, but they can use your eyes and your ears and your hair and some other features and your length of your fingers. And they got 20 other ways from Tuesday. Even if you paid cash for everything, they got you on camera. The stuff that you bought is on camera. They got it. And it's all instantly recorded and logged and analyzed by a robot that can analyze all this shit like that. A human being can't do that, but a bot can. So now, if they want to come after you because you bought all the things that you would need to kill somebody and bury the body, you might have somebody knocking on your door tomorrow, even if you did that shit 3 months ago and you did it over a span of 4 weeks and you crossed county lines and you went to 20 different stores to buy it all. Like Walter White trying to buy all the ingredients to make meth in the beginning of Breaking Bad. He would go to this store in this county and this store in that county, and he would go here and go there and get a little bit of Sudafed here and a little bit of Sudafed there and blah, 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 blah. Well, now you can't. You do that now. Boom! You're in the database. They got you. It don't matter. You paid cash. They don't fucking care. They know. They know. They got 100 different ways to track it. And that's only going to get crazier. So, I mean, AI, I use AI to do things. I'm using AI to try and fix my car right now. And I'm getting some good information. It's helping me. It's helping me try and pinpoint what the problem is. But it's bad too. So getting back to like carrying cash. Cash is king and all that. Yes, for now. like people are saying on the chat here, there are a lot of places out there right now that don't even want to take cash anymore. They refuse to take cash. And a lot of other places, the bakery I work at, we don't refuse to take cash, but we highly, highly, highly encourage people to pay electronically. We don't make it a pain in the ass to pay cash, but we kind of do. If you put it that way. We do not, we like money. Whatever form it comes in, we do not care. But as far as the corporation, the company is concerned, it's structured. We don't even take the orders. Like you can order on a touch screen, or you can use an app on your phone, and you don't need to. If I see somebody standing up front, I'll walk right up and be like, "Hey, how you doing today? Can I help you? Can I help you make up your mind? Do you need help with an order?" Some people just don't like doing that touch screen shit. I don't. I hate that shit. Sometimes I like it. It depends on a lot. 9 times out of 10, I would rather talk to a person than go to a touch screen and make it. It's like, now I gotta. At some point, if I go to McDonald's, let's see, I've got to go to the touch screen. I've got to place my order. I've got to bag my own groceries. Do I have to go behind the counter and make my own Big Mac next? Is that what's next? I have to put on a fucking apron and a stupid hat with the golden arches and go into the back and cook my fucking hamburger myself? Like, is that the next thing? Like, oh, self-cooking. You get to go to McDonald's and pay for your Big Mac, but you got to make it yourself. I don't know. But cash. Yeah, the robot will do that for you. I hate to say it, but the automated McDonald's is probably better than the McDonald's workers making the food for you. That's the sad thing. I bet that's the best tasting McDonald's you can get. It's not like they're hiring Gordon Ramsay to work at McDonald's. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that's why the fucking hamburger comes out with a footprint on it and it's burnt to a crisp. um, but money, cash. I would try to carry $500 at all times because I did a lot of Craigslisting and things like that. But $500 is generally enough to solve pretty much any problem you're going to have on any given random day when you're close to home. If I was traveling and I was going to be really far from home, like driving to Florida and back or something like that, I would take $1,000 cash out and keep it in two different places. I keep 500 in my wallet and 500 somewhere else in my vehicle, but hidden. Because if the cards stop working and they pull the plug on us, $1,000 cash is enough to get you home. $1,000 cash could probably fix most problems that you're going to have with your vehicle. I mean, unless your vehicle just completely blows up out on the road. And at that point, you could get a bus ticket home. I mean, you can get home if you got $1,000 cash. But if the cards start working and you got $50 in your wallet, you're fucked. Especially if you're 1,000 miles from home. Imagine traveling and being out in the middle of nowhere or being 2,000 miles from home when they pull the plug and the credit card stops working. What if there's a nationwide outage for days on end? That would collapse the entire economy within 2 days. So none of us would be alone in the hassle that we're putting up with going through that. But just imagine being stranded somewhere. But if you had that cash, you would be able to get home. You would be able to get where you need to go, get some food, get some supplies, get started on the right foot. And so, problem for me is, like I said, I'm not even a thousandaire anymore. I was for a bit. Part of me said set some money aside for the car, but I also had a house to furnish. I wanted to sleep on a bed. I wanted to do some things. And I did one or two frivolous, fun things. But most of the money that I spent was on the car, things for the car, a toolkit for the car, which has already come in handy like 3 or 4 times, not just for the car. I fixed stuff at the bakery yesterday because somebody asked me, hey, can you fix this thing? And I said, I'll be right back. And I came in with 2 freaking toolboxes and was like, boom, open them up. Had the shit fixed in 10 minutes. They don't have tools at the bakery. They got a couple of crappy ass wrenches. I would have been there for like an hour banging on stuff with a wrench when you needed a hammer and that kind of, like, I was in and out 5 minutes because I had tools with me. So it's not just for my car problems carrying tools with. I can help somebody else if one of my coworkers' car doesn't start. I've got 2 jump starters in my trunk, compact little jump starters. I can jump start 2 people's car, maybe 3 or 4 people. If everybody's car broke down at once, I could at least jump start them all. There's a lot of things I can do. I'm going to carry, like I said, I'm going to carry a 10 millimeter socket wrench, keep it in my car so that if my car doesn't start, all I got to do is pop the hood, take the clamps off the battery, go put them back on, get back in the car, start the car and go. And I mean, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be swearing. I'm going to be angry about it, but I'm not going to be calling AAA. And I'm just going to have to do that. If I have to do that, I will do that until I can afford to go to the garage and get the stupid thing fixed. Tomorrow, if the car starts up in the cold and it's not doing that anymore, woo! All right, party time. Excellent. But I'm not expecting that based on what happened today when I changed battery. But I did drive. I went on a half-hour drive today. I parked in a parking lot. I walked in. I came back out, got back in the car, drove home, drove around for about half an hour, 40 minutes, kind of aimlessly. I found a new route that I can take on my bicycle that would, it would kind of be a nice, I wouldn't call it a shortcut, but it would be a nice way to go to cut out a certain part of a certain route that I don't like doing on my bike by taking some back streets and back roads that don't have any traffic on them. There you go, a heat gun to warm up the computer module. I could just get a blow dryer, a hair dryer. But by the time, I mean, it doesn't take long for the car itself to warm up, and it goes away. So unfortunately, it might start getting worse, but hopefully I can go another couple of weeks without the car keeping me from getting to where I gotta go, and then I can just fix it when I have the money to fix it. But I'm pissed off mostly because I can't trust the car. I don't want to go to Galveston. I don't want to go to New York. I don't want to go to Pittsburgh. I don't want to go anywhere with this car right now because I don't trust it. And if this fixes to where I don't have problems other than the original problems the car came with, that I'll fix whenever I want to, because they're not getting in the way of me driving, I'll be okay. But I'm billing a client weekly right now for doing a job. I'm working 20, 30 hours a week for him, and I'm putting it in. Might even put in a couple more hours tonight. I am a bit tired, so we'll see. I'm doing 3 days a week at the bakery now, so I'm getting an extra 12 hours of that on a paycheck. It's like an extra $100 every 2 weeks. I'm supposed to be getting money from YouTube in November. We'll see what happens there. I won't know. Probably I won't know if they put it in my account until around the 12th or the 13th. And then if they did, I won't get paid till like the 21st. But that'd be an extra boost. That would be enough. The YouTube bonus would be enough in and of itself to pay for the car repair if it's what I think it is. So possibly worst case scenario, I just got to wait till that YouTube payment comes in and then I can go to the garage. One way or another, I'll get it done. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of like Jesus said, chill out. Don't run out the door trying to get everything done all at once. He kind of forced me to not be in a hurry, messing around with my car. If I had tried to fix the battery yesterday while I was knowing that I had to go to the bakery at 4, it took me I would have been to Walmart and home from Walmart in less than half an hour. But instead it was almost 2 hours that I was gone. Then if I had tried to change the battery, I would have ran into the one issue of having the socket go down and had to fish it out. That took a minute. That added to my time. There were a couple other things that took a little longer than I wanted it to. And then I would have gotten in the car and started the car, and the immobilizer would have shut the car off 3-4 times in a row. And I might have thrown a tool at that point, because now I've got like an hour before I've got to leave to go to the bakery, and my car's not starting. So I'm glad that it's almost like God just kind of manipulated my day yesterday to force me to not mess with it until today, because I have all day Thursday and Friday to look at this and putz around. And then today he was like, you know what? I'm going to make this car alarm go off for the next 5 hours, and you're not going to go outside and mess around with your car for at least 5 hours, because you don't want to be listening to that car alarm going the whole time you're trying to do it. And so I had to wait until the car alarm died, like the battery on the truck had to have died or something, because it finally stopped. And so that's all. I mean, I had some money in the bank. I blew it. I knew I would. It wasn't like I didn't know I would do it before I got it, but I did wait until I got the car. And I didn't spend the whole wad of cash on a car. I spent half. I spent a little more. Well, you could say I spent half of the money on the car and car related things, and gas and insurance. Probably a little more than half of the money was spent on the car, and the other half was spent on my house. Maybe a fourth was spent on my house, and another was a month's worth of bills. I paid a whole month's worth of bills out of the money that I was given on that, and I took a month off of my life. I did the bare minimum. I worked 2 days a week at the bakery. I did almost no. I mean, I did like 20 hours worth of freelance work, billable, 20 billable freelance hours over a month. That was like 5 hours a week on freelance and 2 days at the bakery. And I paid all my bills for the month out of that check that I got. Maybe a little more than a month's worth of bills. Bought a car, bought all the stuff that I needed, the car insurance, everything else, the registration, all the stuff, the tools, all the stuff, even the car battery. Well, at some point, other money's paying for that stuff. But I bought a bed, the workbench that you see behind me. I did some stuff, and I'm glad I did it because it's helping. I mean, there's a lot of things that are way better now. Part of me just wishes that this problem with the car would have popped up when I could have just thrown money at it and been done with it. Would have been nice if that happened within the first 2 weeks of owning the car, not a month later. But like Blue Sky says, you need a little bit more time to beef up the money again. That's all I do. That's really it. I can pay my monthly bills on what I'm making right now. It's not a lot. I don't really have any more big ticket items to buy. A couch, a 2-seat love seat's the only thing I want. And I don't care right now. And I can get it. I can get one for like $100. I have a $200 budget for that. And that includes love seat, renting a truck if I have to rent a truck to go get it, and getting a Moroccan poof or an end table or a coffee table, or a footstool or an ottoman. Basically, I want a 2-seat love seat and a place to put my feet so I can kick back in it like a recliner. And if I have company, who knows if that'll ever happen. But if I do, somehow, there's a place for 2 people to sit instead of 1 and watch a movie. I got, if it's time to Netflix and chill, I got chill covered. Chill is all covered. Netflix isn't quite there. The chill that you need the Netflix before you can chill. So I think I should have worked but if I had the Netflix part figured out, the chill part wouldn't have been any good. So I couldn't do both at the same time. So anyhow, I think that's all I got for today. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm seeing something else that happened this week that's crazy. But I'm 2.5 hours into the episode, so maybe I'll just save it for another video. But it boils down to don't sign up for PayPal. And I've talked about that numerous times, so I'll tease it out next time I do, and whether it's the members only or the full. I'd rather talk about this one on the full chat. But had another episode with PayPal. And what else? AAA, when you sign up for AAA, they come at you to give you an insurance quote. I got one. We can talk about that. We can talk about AAA, doing laundry, PayPal. We can talk about AI some more. Cold brew coffee. Tony Robbins, and whatever goes on with the car between now and then. But for now, I am going to retire and go see. I'm not really hungry, but I might need a snack. I definitely need some water. And with that, I'm going to tell you all peace out, and we'll talk again.